It's from Stephen Berries. Praying one day Big Red will win the NIT.
Ham is the water of meats.
Ham the water of meats.
Ham is the water of meats.
Someone needs for
Ham is the
bacon.
water of meats.
It is a busy week on Stibbs TV. Starting right here with our weekly gathering with our friend Jack Mitchell from Lincoln, KLIN. Later this week, you'll see Mike Farron. You'll see Mike Schaefer. You will see our new halftime show.
Yeah.
Kent Wolgamott.
Kent
Kent
Wolgamott,
Wolgamott,
the
yeah.
movie club. I forgot what movie I picked all of a sudden. I
don't remember the name
I
of
gotta
it.
think of that.
No.
And there will be more coming this season. Plus, stay tuned.
Killing them softly.
Killing them softly.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stibbs.
Stay tuned for Stibbs, the NFL on Stibbs TV, Gridiron. His reaction to Chiefs Bills. Jack,
live.
will you be watching along? I know you're not a huge guy except for your little fantasy thing, but I mean, this is an opportunity.
Here we go again.
No, what do you mean? Here we go again. I'm just saying your little fantasy thing.
You guys perpetuate the myth that I don't care about the NFL. It is my legit all day long. I watch the NFL when it's on. I don't have a favorite.
Watching the Stibbs TV. Will you be watching Stibbs react to the Chiefs?
Yeah, definitely. I'm planning my day around that.
Good.
Thank you.
I
for
sense some
lying.
sarcasm.
No, I'll be driving. I'll be delivering kids places. So I'll tune in to my favorite play-by-play announcer, who I get to hear every week on 1620 The Zone, and see what he has to say about the game.
Great cross promotional stuff there for the Stibbs TV network. Hey, we got a show coming up later. Jackie, excited? Nope. All right, tune in. Thanks.
Listen, you want me to come on and do a commercial for your shows? Get a different guest.
That's true. I guess I shouldn't expect much. I mean, after all, the Journal-Star ignored us for so many years. So what would be the difference? So we just played the audio last segment. We just heard it in the Husker practice report. Adrian Martinez is the man. No surprise, right?
I don't know. The things that were said the last 2 weeks and them sort of going around the edges of making it clear. To me, that was like, I expected this a couple of weeks ago. Like, I expected the rhetoric around this to be more clear cut a couple of weeks ago. Some of the things that were said started to put some doubt into my mind. I know most everybody told me, no, it's going to be Adrian. And they were right in the end, but there's still something about the way that it's even talked about even today when Frost was getting into the, look, if he had the experience that Adrian did, McCaffrey I'm talking about, then it might have been a different decision. I don't know. To me, there's just a little, I can't quite interpret what's going around with the way that maybe I'm putting too much into it, but there's something there that seems odd to me.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that, Jack, because we just got done playing that clip, and I read that as like, wow, this is weird. That's a weird quote to have because it makes me think that Luke was the better player throughout camp. John and then another listener, they viewed it more as, no, it's Adrian just has the experience, but it's not so much a diss on him. It seems like you're more in my boat, though.
You can say, I don't know, he said it, if that's what he said it in a weird way, right? You could just say it the way you said it, Josh. You'd say, Adrian, I mean, one of the benefits, he's got a lot more game experience. So that's part of the reason we're going with him. Like, that's a much more straightforward way to say, if Luke had the experience, then we may be making a different decision. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's just an odd way to, again, maybe there is nothing to it, but that stuck out to me right away.
Well, I do wonder how much of this goes back to what happened 2 years ago when on the same day we found out who the starter was. He also lost the guy that he didn't choose. And I'm not saying that's going to happen this time around, but you do wonder if, sometimes you try so hard not to say something that you end up saying something. Maybe of how everything went down.
Well, because guys, I kind of figure it's one of these guys is gone after next year. I mean, like that's in the back of my head. I don't know if you guys see a scenario where that's not true, but if you think about it, and I know I've tweeted about this a ton because it's fascinating to me. But Luke McCaffrey will have 3 freshman years in a row, He'll have his redshirt year. He'll have this year, and then he'll get next year, which would be a freshman year. And then he could hypothetically be here until 2024. He could play games after the next presidential election, which is crazy if you think about it. Adrian Martinez will have 2 junior years. And so he has, right now, potentially 3 more years of Adrian Martinez. Like, that's crazy. Like, if you're Logan Smothers, you're like, well, looking forward to 2037 when I get a chance to actually play. But to me, like, one of these guys is going to be a very long-term solution. I know injuries happen. I know other things intervene. But if all goes to plan, it feels like you got to go with one of these guys for the long term. And long term, I mean, at least 3 years.
So, Jack, five days away now from the start of the season. How are you feeling overall about what you think actually happens on the field this year? You know, I know you and I were talking about it a little bit this weekend. Now we know who the quarterback is. Like, do you have a good, positive feeling? You have a meh feeling? You have a negative feeling? Where are you at right now?
I don't know. I'm beginning. So after all of the resistance I had to Bill Moose's comments about Ohio State, now there's a part of me, now that we're into game week, that wishes it was against someone other than Ohio State. As a fan, I think the way that I look at it is I don't know what to expect. I don't have high expectations for this weekend, and I hope I'm wrong. But I really just want to see, and this is what I want to see last year too, incremental improvement from year over year. And that may mean a 500 season or a 1 game over 500 season, or 1 big win. I think they're capable of that. And I hope that's what you end up seeing, because that's really how you can come back to me at the end of the year and say, Jack, well, you said if they're 5-3 and have a disappointing loss to end the season, or 4-4 and get a good win in there as well, I think and don't have the blowouts, I think I'll be happy with that. I think they're capable of that, but it's gonna depend on a lot on the defense to me. I think I have by far the most questions about the defensive situation, if they're going to be able to stop some of these teams or be able to outscore them if the defense doesn't come through.
Have you prepared yourself for what a moral victory looks like on Saturday?
This weekend? Saturday?
Yeah, this Saturday.
I mean, in truth, in theory, yes, there should be one. Sadly enough, if things look better than they did last year, that's a step in the right direction. Continue on this improvement, but you get into the situation, and what'll probably happen. Here's what'll probably happen: things will go way better than expected for a little while, and I'll get emotionally invested, and I'll be like, "Here I am, we're partying all night." And then the rug will be pulled out, and that's always how it has to go. It won't. I mean, so the moral victory will. In theory, yes, it is there. It should be there, but in practice, it's even more emotionally devastating. And that's what the world finds in sports for me and Husker fans, is more way to just devastate us completely.
Jack, one of the topics that we're going to get into today is something that Tom Chattel wrote about over the weekend, essentially calling this year, like a hall pass season, and more about COVID really than anything else. Are you entering it that way, where, like every year we kind of want to see incremental progress, and that's going to tell the big story about where Scott Frost and the staff is going, yada, yada, yada. We do that with every coach ever. Like, can we do a hall pass season in year 3, especially when everyone else is going through the same stuff with COVID and the world at large?
I don't know. It may be just in terms, if you're truly evaluating Scott Frost and the coaching staff and those sorts of things. I think to some degree there may be some validity to that point, but on this idea that it isn't going to feel like, like the reaction will be muted if things go poorly, I don't buy that. I mean, I don't buy that at all. Because it doesn't, does it feel like that's the case anywhere else? Does it feel like that's the case in Tennessee right now?
No.
Or does it feel like that was the case in LSU? That's a good sign of what it's going to be like in Lincoln if things go poorly. Or Norman, Oklahoma. No, I doubt it. I really doubt it. And I don't really want it to. What kind of fun is that?
No, it's all relative, right?
I want to feel pain. I want to feel true, genuine pain, and I will.
And then you also want to feel the true joy. Like, that's the thing.
Sure
It's
you
like,
do.
I don't like approaching it that way because it makes any negative a negative, or not so much a negative. But then how do we treat a positive result then? Let's say Nebraska pulls out the upset. Are we supposed to say, hey, hall pass COVID season? No, of course not. You're supposed to embrace it.
And that's not going to happen anyway.
No,
That's why I said in the last, in the first segment, that once that ball is kicked off, everything's out the window. It's going to feel like football again. You are going to immerse yourself back in, just like you have every other year, whether you have high expectations going into the season or low expectations going into the season.
Yeah.
But it's still going to be, hey, my team's on the field, and by God, I'm going to react to whatever it is the hell they do, good or bad. And that's not changing.
I started talking about the game on my show this morning, and I was saying some of these same things where I was like, I'll be happy if they show some improvement and it doesn't feel like last year. Okay, when Saturday comes around, you guys know, and then like all of you listening, I'm going to be losing my flipping mind. I'm going to be tweeting in all caps constantly. I mean, it will not. It will.
Will you though, or are you going back into that?
The safe space.
Are you doing your safe space message board thing again this year?
Oh no, forget that. That's not it. I'm not doing that.
Good.
So we have,
because I can turn off replies.
Jack Mitchell again on Twitter for Husker.
I can turn off replies now, which is amazing. I just
You're
have to
pull an hour back.
I don't care. This is not about hurting anyone else's feelings. I am an, how do you say this? I'm a overly aggressive jerk during games.
I've never noticed.
I'm controlling myself. Okay, that is not to mute you. That's to mute me from destroying you on Twitter.
He's right, though. I mean,
if I do that,
I felt it wasn't necessarily COVID related, but we do it all the time with all sorts of stuff. For however many weeks, I came in every day talking about how I'm done with football and I hate it. I never want to see another snap, and I hope they lose every game. And then on Sunday, they're in a close game with the Patriots, and I'm on pins and needles hoping for everything to go right and rooting like nothing's changed. I mean, it's human nature. As soon as we get into the game, you're right. Everything's going to go by the wayside, and you're just going to be watching your team play football.
Listen, you guys watched me during the original Wang Nachos almost try and will a hopeless season, a meaningless game in a hopeless season, Nebraska and Penn State, to a reality. And if I could do it then, dang straight I can do it on Saturday and be amped up to 150%.
So, Jack, you said something a few minutes ago, about what you were saying on the show this morning of I'm just hoping for improvement here and hoping for improvement there. Where do you think like realistic improvement can show itself? Is there like a player or a position group that you're looking at this year and you're saying, man, if they're going to maybe exceed my expectations or exceed some expectations, whatever those are, this player or this position group or this side of the ball is going to be the reason why? Do you have any examples like that?
Cut swing passes down by five times fewer
the whole
swing
season.
Yes, that's one of my, how in Madden it gives you the goals for each game. One of my goals would be 20% of last year's swing pass total. That's number one. Number two is the front seven on defense. Like it feels like that could really go in a direction. I mean, listen, we're all talking about unknowns constantly. To me, that is the ultimate unknown about this team by far. You feel like this offense is going to be able to score points. You feel like the offensive line, it feels like you got the most experience you've had on it. There are questions about the receiving core, but compared to anything else, you've got to have, and that's not necessarily, that maybe doesn't quite answer your question, Josh, because that's not necessarily a specific improvement that needs to happen. But I think you've got to have some guys coming in at those positions and being difference makers, especially at the linebacker position that you just haven't gotten year after year after year. And to me, if they do that at those front seven positions, if you've got a few difference makers that could be the thing that puts you over the hump of having that improvement that's been so elusive over the last few years.
How much of the press conference did you get a chance to hear?
I just followed it on Twitter and quote tweeted stuff that I thought was funny, so I didn't hear any of it.
Okay, all right. Well, because
luckily there are some reporters who keep us very informed of what is said at those press conferences at Twitter.
There's a couple,
so it's nice. So you don't even have to listen to it anymore because of the Twitter.
Well, and that's why I suggest, for at least for you, to keep your sanity. Don't watch the game. Just wait for the end of quarter updates on Twitter.
Oh my gosh,
because you'll get those.
Oh yeah, you'll get play-by-play. It's great.
Oh, yeah.
It's perfect.
and I look forward to it. Oh, I look forward to it because I know Josh is going to be triggered by it. Anyway,
Can't wait for 100 score updates.
but there was a segment in
Nebraska's
there
down by 42.
where
Wow.
Scott Frost mentioned that, they feel like they've got a pretty good grip on their COVID protocols. And some even took it to believe that maybe he was implying that there may have been some herd immunity over the summer within the program. He didn't actually say that, but some are implying it, that was
Many
the
people
case.
are saying.
He also mentioned, and I thought this was interesting, that those teams that really want to play are going to find a way to play, and those teams that don't aren't. Those were a couple of very interesting points in this press conference today. How confident are you? If I gave you a number, 8.5, is Nebraska playing the over or the under?
Well, I would have said under, but after hearing that, definitely the over. So, I don't know. And the thing about it is you've got an opponent in each of those games as well. Right. So even if whatever he's alluding to is true about antibodies or about a way that they figured out to not have to get there, that may not always be true of the opponent. And so, man, I think I'd have to take the under. But that's just from watching. That's really from just watching the rest of the college football world, how frequently it's happened, and knowing that the standards in the Big Ten are even more stringent than what's happening in some of these other places. And based on that, and then you just have a lot of these communities, the numbers are a lot higher now than when they got started in August and September. So to me, that's a likelihood. I hope I'm dead wrong on that. But I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong on that.
Do you think the bars are going to be a zoo this week? I know the governor changed some of the DHMs this week. You can't be standing around. But you think what do you think the scene's going to be like at a lot of the bars that are busy on a game day?
That's a great question. They passed some legislation here in Lincoln that are allowing them to shut down more streets to basically let the bars spill out into the outdoor areas. They've done that with the rail yard. People have been there, I'm sure, but they're going to do that with some of the other places downtown. But I really don't know. I've never been a huge here's the thing. I've never been a huge watch a game at a bar guy anyway, though, because I like and so it doesn't even appeal to me that much, just because I like to hear and I like to focus on the game, and then I get to talking. But as you said, they now have a restriction: 8 people at a table, and you have to be sitting down. You can't stand up other than to go to the bathroom or put an order in.
The olds are stoked.
So like I really don't know if it's still appealing. I mean, I know there are people who aren't worried about catching the virus, but are they still sort of, does that experience at the bar, is that valuable to them right now? I don't know. I'm hoping they're able to get enough business to give them a little bit of a bump. They canceled the arena thing. They were going to open the arena up.
Yep.
They decided not to after, I think, getting a lot of blowback there on that. And so they don't have competition from that anymore. But to answer your question, I really don't know. It probably depend too on weather and those kinds of things as well. With
sunny and 45. I just looked it up.
Oh, that's a fall day.
Sunny and 45 in Lincoln.
What it is right now. Yeah, really nice.
Jack, can we talk you into doing a live video stream of you every game this season?
Sure. Yeah, you certainly can. It'll mainly be watching me tweeting and arguing with people. My family will do that. They'll say, "Quit tweeting and watch the game." And then that's the thing. I gotta step away during some of those games. Maybe it'd be nice. I wouldn't have to tweet if I had a live video stream. I could just say everything aloud that I want to say.
I was going to say that, and then you just tweet out the link, and everyone gets your unfiltered, immediate responses.
By the way, I was thinking of this while I was taking a walk today, and you guys were talking about the Stibbs thing. I don't know how this hasn't been invented yet. Maybe it has, but when you watch a live event, a football game on TV, why there isn't on the TV a Twitter stream of just people you want to follow, or even have it be like pop-up video used to be, and you could have tweets throughout the game live on your TV. It'd be amazing. Or even the scroll on the bottom like you have here. Why does that not exist?
I'm sure at some point in time that will be a thing. It is a surprise, though, that we're like, what, a decade and a half into Twitter and that really hasn't been incorporated in anything.
It shocks me that that's not a thing.
All the score updates that we'd get, that'd be fun.
But
7-0, 7-0, 7-0, 7-0, 7-0, 7-0.
What would be the benefit to that? Because you can't respond to that.
Maybe
unless you go on your Twitter. So
you don't think it would be fun after a big play happens just to see all of the reaction of everything, or if it's a good call or a bad call? I think it'd be great. We need.
John doesn't like
Sean. You're such a stick in the mud. You're so old.
I don't need a bunch of crap polluting the screen.
He doesn't like Nike logos on baseball jerseys. He's not going to want tweets.
But no, you got your goddamn phone sitting in front of you.
Whoa!
Thought about it.
Well, you got your stupid phone. You got your stupid computer. You need it on your TV screen too.
Were you mad when they put the score of the games on full time on the screen? Yeah, you were. You were. I guarantee you hated it. I don't need to know the score.
Your bitter takes are not something that is pertinent to the game.
You should be keeping score in your scorebook like we are at home anyway.
You stupid millennials want your damn Twitter. Look at your damn phone. That's where your noses are anyway.
Hey, Jack's not a millennial.
No, but he's a wannabe millennial. He keeps creating this like
the border
new generation,
the best generation
that's
on the border of X and Y. They can do everything. We can do everything. We're amazing. Shout out everyone born from like.
You can't do everything because you have to have your Twitter now on your TV.
It'd be nice. Oh my gosh, wow.
Use your phone.
Do you just not like technological advances? I don't get it. Of course,
not a technological advance.
Yes, it is. That's new. It's an advance.
You know what else is new?
What?
If the TV picture just all of a sudden turned upside down in the middle of the game, that would be new.
John, when they started televising games, John was like, "Use your radio. You don't need those moving pictures."
You know what? I hope this technology.
Great freaking idea. You know what?
It's like, hey, here's this really important replay we need to see. Instead, we got to see all these tweets.
You know what?
And the whole thing just like a bunch of balloons.
What did Chrissy Teigen think of that last 40-yard touchdown catch?
Boy. I'm going on Shark Tank. I'm going to make a crap load of money, and then it's such a good idea. There's a market for it. Fine. You don't have to have it. It's an option you can turn on. Then you're going to choose the people. I mean, it'd be great. It'd be fantastic.
In other words, what you already have on your phone.
I don't have to be looking at my phone constantly. You get it in real time. It'd be amazing.
Yeah, but you can't respond to it. What are you going to go up
part
to
of the thing, John? I'm trying to stop myself from responding the whole time.
A couple responses to your response. Dan says, I'm with John. I would hate seeing constant tweets on the TV during a game. And Steve says,
don't use it then.
Steve says, John Bishop here for bringing back the Telegraph.
It's amazing how you folks always turn it back to, I'd rather go back to the days where you had to go downtown and watch little man walk across the graph on the side of the bank building.
Where's my carrier pigeon?
Man, Amazing Dana says, just remember, even if it's Twitter and it's on your TV, it's still somehow AM radio.
Yes. Make sure it's 1620 the zone.
Oh.
All right.
I'll write that in my ratings book.
I honestly didn't think it was going to be one of your bad ideas that would get me fired up on this Monday, but congratulations. You've done it again.
John wants to be able to hold his phone. Okay. He wants to be able to have the phone in his hand. I like the feel of the phone in my hand.
I set the phone aside. I like to watch the game. I enjoy the game.
Good. Then you won't be able to see my tweets.
But we will if you join us on Stibbs TV.
Jack will not be there, unfortunately.
He will not be there.
Yeah.
No.
Well, spoiler alert, I yell holding on about 90% of the 90% of the calls.
There you go. This person without a name says it could be like closed captions. You could turn it on. John.
No, it's not. It's permanently on there, and then that leads to court packing and socialism right away. That's basically the.
Oh
yeah. All right. Well, just for that, I hope you have an awful experience. I hope Twitter crashes during the game just for you.
Oh man, that sounds terrible.
Actually, I'm gonna tell him you didn't like it at my Antifa meeting tonight.
You should just do.
Wait, I thought Antifa's a group.
You should just strictly do audio tweets for the first game.
Oh, I love that idea.
Is that even a thing anymore?
Yeah.
Or just do video of yourself.
Or video, but audio would be funny because we'd hear you freaking out and not knowing if you're like pantsless.
Okay, like nobody wants to. Well, listen, I got to be careful because you guys are doing this right now, so I shouldn't say that nobody wants to watch
your stream.
I was going to say nobody wants to watch even entertaining people react in real time to a game. That I don't know.
That's a fair
But
point.
again, have fun with your thing.
Bye, Jack.
Bye, Jack.
Sure. No, it'll be good. I bet it'll be good for
Get
you
him
guys.
out of here. He's done. He's out.
All right, bye, Jack.
Hey,
See you
there are
next
people.
week.
Look at that. I'm looking at it. There are people watching us. That's cool.
That's nice of them.
All right, we got a good amount there.
Well,
Greg and Ligon, phone in hand is better than a tubing in hand.
coming up, you'll get a taste of what it's like to watch someone react to a game in real time.
Oh, bang!
Right here on this Stibbs TV channel. The NFL on Stibbs TV is coming up.